was the fact that, they hadn't won in 86 years, breaking the curse, the way they came back against the Yankees. There were over 3 million people in that parade. I was one of them. It was unreal. And it was also the only time that they went in the water with the duck boats, like on the Charles.
cool.
Like
Yeah.
the footage from that was just incredible. And then, I'd have to say in terms of, being special, like 2013 was really special because of what happened in the city of Boston that year with the marathon bombings and how everybody sort of rallied around sports teams at the time in Boston, especially the Red Sox team that took their run all the way into October. And I remember covering that parade. I was actually on what was called Yawkey Way at the time, Jersey Street now, of course, with Rob Bradford and the late, great Nick Cafardo, who, we miss dearly, and he was part of the coverage as well. And we were talking over the parade, as you do, right? Like, there's, the Jared Saltalamacchia who had the walk-off hit in game 2 of the ALC, right? Like that kind of thing. And then they get to the finish line at the marathon finish line, Copley Square, and they stop. And this was sort of unprecedented, right? Stopping in the middle of the parade. And they take the World Series trophy and they put it on the finish line and they drape the 617 Boston Strong jersey that they had been hanging in the dugout since the marathon bombings. It's something that they brought with them on the road, something that they had at Fenway Park. They were hanging it in the dugout and they draped that. It was Johnny Gomes and I believe Salty as well. What a powerful moment that was, man. Like, sort of like one of those times as a broadcaster where you just stop talking and you just let the moment sort of speak for itself. And that was something that was so powerful and so special. And I look back at that fondly as a great memory and a great tribute, to the lives that were lost, the people that were injured, and the entire city of Boston. That was just such a unique situation. So those are the memories that I had that I wanted to get into a little bit more last week. But thank you, Soph and Jemai, for letting me share that.
Yeah,
that was
you ran out of
fantastic.
time. We talked too much.
I mean,
Go Jemai. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I was just sitting back in a rocking chair for story time. That was amazing. I mean, now I see what it's like on the other end. When you're such deep into another story. That was great.
Well, thank you.
Honestly,
thank you both. But yeah, I appreciate it.
You mentioned, and I feel like I should transition to this recent Celtics win, but I'll go here first. You mentioned like, hey, Soph, Jemai, you guys have been part of, Soph in your short time, been part of some championships here in Boston. And that's untrue. This is the first one. When I came, everyone started losing. So
Wow.
yeah, this is the first one in my time.
I thought you were here for the Patriots. You weren't here for the Patriots 2018 season. They won in 2019. No, because you started in 2019. I thought
2019, which was obviously the year that the Bruins lost to St. Louis. I came in the after that June.
That's
so
right.
after that June,
I
came in August.
It was afterwards.
So yeah,
makes sense
yeah.
now.
So
I remember now.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, two funny things to go with that. One, when I was in Toronto as a budding broadcaster, I remember one of my audition tapes was something I made myself. It wasn't like a broadcast at a desk or whatever. I had asked the camera guy, can you come with me? Can we shoot something? I'm going to put it together. And it was in Toronto, but it was all about Boston. And this was 13 or 14 years ago, of how this is just the city of champions. And even if you're not getting championships, it was about how the city of Boston always makes it to the final or a conference final. Like every year they're competing and giving their fans something to cheer for. And I know that hasn't always been true. Obviously, I'm aware of the curse and so on and so forth. But at the time that I was making it, still not on air, I don't think, or I had maybe, one or two quick 15-second hits on air, but I was trying to make it more. I made this whole demo about the city of Boston, which I don't think I could find if I tried. But funny that, I'm here now. And the last thing I'll say is, sure enough, I'm here in Boston, finally get to witness a championship, but nope. I'm back home in Toronto visiting my family. So I missed the celebration and I missed the parade. So technically I missed it anyway. Didn't get to participate. A little peeved about that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I can at least say that matter of fact, now that we now that you mention it, actually, I've only been a part of one parade. Like I've seen multiple championships, I guess because now that the Celtics won, but I saw more heartbreak than anything because I saw the Bruins lose to the Blues in Game 7 there, so that was tough. And then um, the Celtics' most recent one is the latest championship. So 2018, obviously, the Red Sox going all the way, winning 100 plus games. I was a part of that parade, so that was the first time I got to experience it. But it certainly was not 3 million people there. I'd have to go back and look at the numbers, but it was still an incredible experience. And we were like, I was on Boylston, and like I'm trying to think how far down I was. I was almost by the state capitol, so um, near the Cheers bar there, but on the opposite side of the street. So that's the location that I was, and seeing all the tugboats pass by was pretty cool, and like just being part of it, seeing the tape fall from the skies, and obviously being a team that you cover, that made it that more special because you got a chance to see the entire journey from start to finish. So that was pretty incredible. But that was my only parade. That was my only parade that I went
Wow.
to because obviously we were out of town on this latest road trip in Toronto when the Celtics happened. So um, maybe there'll be another one at some time soon. Maybe this year. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? Knowing Boston,
How
it'll
does it
happen soon.
how does it compare? Like, all right, so like the Raptors won a title. The Blue Jays won in the early 90s. The Maple Leafs haven't won in 57 years, I think
67.
now.
Yep.
Yeah.
60 is 67. Is that what it is?
So since
1967, right?
1960, yeah, yeah, yeah.
1967, but that is 57. Yeah. Okay. So, um, so were you in Toronto when the Raptors won, Soph, then?
So, yeah.
Mm.
So basically, I was in Toronto for the beginning of the postseason and saw the first two rounds, and then I had already accepted the job to Nesson, and so I knew I was leaving Toronto, and I was a freelance journalist at the time, so I could decide not to work or work. And obviously, when you're freelancing, you're actually taking every job you possibly can because you don't own the next one's coming. But once I'd signed that contract, I thought to myself, like, this is going to be the last time I'm going to have a chance to just take off and travel. And so I decided to book, I think mid-May, I booked for a month and a half, almost two, a trip to Europe. And that's what I was going to go do because in July, I had a whole month in Korea booked for my final freelance gig. And so I'm like, okay, I accepted the job at Nesson. I'm going. So I planned this. Sure enough, the Raptors keep winning. And I'm like, I can't be away when the Raptors win. Like if they win, I can't do this. Like I was a big Raptors fan, big Toronto sports fan growing up. So this was huge for us. And I started to be in Europe and just like not be in the moment. I was like watching every game, trying to get updates on my phone. Every time they won in advance, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to cut my trip short. So I did actually. I cut it like 3 weeks short and
Wow.
I flew home because I needed to
Wow.
be there for the final. And I made it, I think the day before game 6, which I think they won in 6. I should know that. But yeah, they won in 6. And I made it for the final game, like jet lag, went to my friend's house to watch it, and then was part of the celebration. And it's something that in hindsight, I don't regret doing. Like 3 more weeks in Europe would have been nice, but I don't think I ever would have forgiven myself for like watching this team. It was the year they got Kawhi Leonard, as you know, and I don't know how much you guys were following that story, but it was like the one
Yeah, of
window,
course.
can we get it done? And sure enough, they did. And I was like, I don't think this is happening in the near future. For me, I had no idea I'd come to Boston and like fall in love with the city and start to become, a Boston sports fan. But that was something that I cut short, and it was awesome. The parade to me was great and that was fun, but it was more the party after the win, like in the streets. That was such a good time.
Yeah.